Major Trauma Group are a nationwide consortium of lawyers, and the aim really is to make sure that those who suffer injuries through accidents which aren't of their own fault can access lawyers who they know will be specialists and will have a particular focus on rehabilitation. But it's not just about legal support. We work alongside and in partnership with clinicians because we want to make sure that when we deliver our advice, that any funds that we secure can be used to help the recovery of those individuals.
The medical process and the legal process are very much tied together. Overriding emphasis is about improving outcome and improving quality of life. Earlier this year, NICE produced their first ever guidelines on rehabilitation after traumatic injury. There have been NICE guidelines on other forms of rehabilitation, including traumatic brain injury and spinal cord injury, but not before for the sort of musculoskeletal injuries that we're talking about. So this is the first time there's been an authoritative guide to how best to manage these injuries. And that enables the Major Trauma Group and the legal teams to work alongside providers of rehabilitation that deliver to those standards. And it also allows those legal teams to insist, shall we say, that insurance companies and fee payers fund appropriate services.
The Rehabilitation Code is a code which is used by lawyers who are supporting those that have suffered serious injuries. It means that where someone has suffered serious injuries, we can really delve into what those needs are and make sure that we get the funds required to improve the health outcomes.
The beauty of the Rehab Code is it's something that's quite rare in personal injury in that both sides, both the insurers and the claimant solicitors, work together to come up with a document that would outline the roles of the various parties within the rehab process, because it gives people a very clear scaffolding about where their role is, what they should be doing, and it allows the claimant to have access to funding without dispute for rehabilitation, which allows to get early intervention in, which is so key, and quite often the only way you're going to get that is by private input.
The NHS Injury Cost Recovery is a little known piece of legislation. It's the law which means that where any compensation is paid, the compensator, which is typically an insurer, has to also reimburse the NHS the treatment cost, because it does mean that the taxpayer is not required to meet the financial burden of treating somebody who has suffered injury through no fault of their own.
Major Trauma Group set up a roundtable discussion. The outcome of it was that essentially we need to improve communication between the NHS and the private sector, between legal and medical people. We need to improve information, which is critical for improving outcome amongst not just the medical world, but also the legal world and the clients, the patients themselves.